Today, we are lifting the hood on one of the most overlooked parts of a finance and accounting tech stack: accounts payable. The part of the business that only gets attention when something breaks. But here is the truth: AP is the quiet financial engine that determines how efficiently your organization runs, how quickly you close your books, and whether your team spends their time building the future or babysitting invoices. If you're still managing AP the old way, you know exactly what I mean. Emailing PDFs back and forth, vendor statements with mystery charges, approvers who swear they never got the email, and coding errors that bounce back at the end of the month, like a bad check. Then, of course, the dreaded paper stack that seems to regenerate every moment you turn your head. Meanwhile, your finance team is stuck doing administrative labor instead of strategic work. And when that happens, the business feels it. The close gets pushed, the reporting drags, and your best people get burnt out doing tasks a robot or AI should have automated years ago. But when you flip the script and implement true AP automation, everything changes. Now, this is not scanning invoices and calling it automation or OCR. I'm talking about real workflow. Intelligent invoice capture, automated approvals, three-way matching that happens without your team lifting a finger, and payments that run secure and controlled. Whether you have one entity or 100, when AP automation is done right, you move from reactive to proactive. You close faster, you gain real-time visibility into cash flow, and you strengthen your vendor relations. That's better budgeting, better forecasting, better decision making, and better everything. This is why AP automation is no longer optional. It's foundational. It's the same leap forward that ERPs brought 20 years ago, the same leap that CRMs brought into sales, and now this is the finance function's turn to level up. We're in a world where finance teams are expected to do more with less, right? And more reporting, more analysis, more accuracy, and you have to do it with less headcount. There's less tolerance for errors and less time. AP is one of the fastest and highest ROI places to start modernizing your back office, not just because it saves hours, but because it removes friction across the entire organization. It brings clarity to speed. It protects you from fraud. It tightens your controls, and it makes your accounting system finally work the way it was meant to work. And today, I have the perfect guest to help explore this, one of the leaders in the AP automation space. We talked about why AP remains broken in some organizations, the hidden costs of manual processes, and what real automation looks like when it's implemented well. This conversation is packed with insights that every CFO, controller, and business owner needs to hear. So grab your coffee, close the spreadsheet, and let's jump in. Here is my conversation with MineralTree.
Hi, everyone. My name is Randy Kardas with Campbell Technology, and today I'm joined by Jared, an account executive over at MineralTree. How's it going, Jared?
I'm doing well, Randy. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Good.
You spent some good time with me already today going through the MineralTree solution, and I thought every one of our listeners needed to hear a little something about this. So tell us about why people should be choosing MineralTree as their payment solution for Sage Intacct.
Well, Randy, it's as simple as they don't have to leave Intacct again to make payments. We built this tool fully embedded in Intacct. No API connections, no third-party implementations needed. They just enable the feature, and from there, a few clicks on their pay bills tab in Intacct, and they can release payments as easy as a flip of a switch. MineralTree will disperse all the checks, the ACHs, and we have a virtual card network of about 11,000 vendors and growing that can accept our free virtual card that gives cashback rebates at the end of the year.
I love that. And something you mentioned, it can be enabled right through the system. So this is native.
Correct. Yes, we built this with Intacct's product team.
That's amazing. And that's something I know just as an implementer, it can be a difficult thing when people are going through an accounting system implementation and they have to work with third-party vendors just to get their system live. So it sounds like this would be a pretty speedy implementation.
Absolutely. It takes about just under 10 business days to set this up. And predominantly that is just linking your bank accounts. We have businesses using our tool that have one bank account where they just have one voided check to submit. And then we also have some that have 100 voided checks. So it takes some days to gather all of that. So it really is as simple as that to set it up. Intacct worked with us again to build this. And when people have questions about the tool, they don't need to go to MineralTree or another third party. They go to their Intacct rep or their Intacct implementation specialist if they have questions.
So take our listeners through, let's say, the top 3 pieces of functionality that make MineralTree the solution for them.
Again, we'll start off with that native solution, the easiness of the implementation. There's no third-party implementation where you need time of weeks of energy and manpower needed to build this out. And the last part is that MineralTree's payments, it's all determined by your information that you have for your vendors. If you have your vendors' ACH information, we'll send them out as an ACH. If you have your vendors' checks address, it's a check. And if you want to use our virtual credit card, you let us know. We're not going to force that on you.
That's phenomenal. If there was one thing you wanted people to know about your solution, what would it be?
The affordability of it. I know a lot of softwares out there hide the cost of the solution. You know, you have to go through a demo to learn how much it's going to cost. I'll tell you right now, Randy, it's only $250 to set it up once. That's the only fee. And then from there, the rest is transactional. It's $1.99 per check. That includes the stamp, the envelope, any other materials. We send out remittances. ACHs are 49 cents per. And then the virtual card's free. And the only other recurring charge is per bank account that's linked is $10 a month. And if you don't use one of your bank accounts in that month, we're not going to charge you for it.
That is affordability.
Absolutely.
When we're implementing clients and they're asking about what solution should I use, one of the things that's always at the back of our mind is how easy is it to implement? And does it cost an exorbitant amount of cash just to get rolling?
Absolutely. And then the other thing about the affordability is we have current users now that have implemented back in June, and they've already offset the cost from that virtual card rebate that they're going to receive at the end of the year. So we have users that have this tool as a revenue stream. The cost is nullified. And it only takes us a few, maybe $50,000 worth of payments on that virtual card with our cash back. It covers that $250. The high volume clients, they're receiving rebates that are enormous, right? Because they're paying large vendors hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars for a virtual card. But when you're doing that much business, you are writing a lot of checks and ACHs system. But when you go virtual, you know, you realize how easy it is to move off a check. You know, you tell your vendor, hey, can you accept a virtual credit card from MineralTree? They might say no because they have fees. And then in that instance, we send you a check. It takes 3, 4, 5 business days. ACHs take much faster. So in that instance, you know, you're still moving down all that volume you're doing and converting it electronically. So again, it really depends. And when it comes to a small business, a family office, you know, for this tool, it is so inexpensive. You set it and you forget it. We'll run those checks for you. Those ACHs are sent out the door. You can operate with a small team as is still with no disruption.
I love that. And I mean, that means that this is not just a solution for clients or Sage Intacct users who have high volumes. This is for anybody who just wants to go digital.
Exactly. We have users that are doing maybe 5 ACHs a whole month. And then we have users that are doing 2,000-3,000 checks a month. You know, I mean, we have multinational track companies. We have mom and pop dental shops on it. We have a nonprofit out in Washington, for example. We have a nonprofit out in Washington that maybe cuts 10 checks a month, and it's already worth it because they have one whole staff on the entire finance team, right? So it's for anybody.
Now that's great. And that speaks to the ability for controllers and CFOs to be able to scale their business.
I go on Indeed a lot for my own research purposes, and there's never a shortage of accounting jobs that are out there. And, you know, with this tool, the pressure to grow your team to keep up with this demand of payments for your vendors, because vendors are hounding finance teams for their payments, because that's how the world works. They need their money for you to make money. You can grow your team without worrying about having, 4, 5, 7, 10 AP specialists cutting those checks, doing those bank file uploads.
That's a value sell to anybody.
Yep.
So tell us about your partnership with Sage.
I just want to say this is only the beginning. Our relationship with Sage has been established for a long time. They are a really great partner of ours, and we're great partners of theirs. We were just named the Global FinTech Partner of the Year at the keynote a few minutes ago. And this is only the beginning of this tool. You already see the headwinds, name dropping some other ERPs out there, maybe like a NetSuite. They are rushing out with a Bill.com partnership, QuickBooks and Rant. And that's all the headwinds because of how successful our embedded solution is. And these ERPs, the future of an enterprise software is how much can you get out of it. Payments is something that hasn't been touched before until now.
So Jared, one of the key sells for Sage Intacct is its multi-entity capability, where you can automate the due to and due from accounting. Talk to us about how MineralTree fits into that.
With this tool, especially as it's embedded in Intacct, it's going to respect your setup. So whether you have 1,000 entities or you sync at the top level with one entity, we will honor your structure and setup, and you'll be able to apply your payments at the top or at the entity level. One of the big things about the AP automation space right now is with an API connection, you are restricted to choosing. You either have to do sync at the top or sync at the entity. And there are many finance teams out there that use both features. And when they want to use a payment automation tool like this, they're restricted. They have to decide whether they want to sync at the top or the entity because of that API connection. But with our tool that's embedded in Intacct and how it honors the workflow established already, it doesn't matter how you want to sync at it, because there's no sync. You can either apply payments at the top or at the entity level. Seamless reconciliation for that as well. There's no duplicates that you need to worry about if there was a third-party tool involved. And your listeners are going to know what I'm talking about, where they have multi-entities and another vendor out there is going to tell them, hey, you got to pick either you're syncing at the top or you're syncing at the entity level.
Well, that's phenomenal. So MineralTree, it is a native solution integrated with Sage Intacct. You can pay your bills right through Sage Intacct and not have to go to your bank and manually submit anything. Thanks so much, Jared. I appreciate it.
Of course, Randy. Pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
What a powerful conversation. If there's one thing I want you to take away from the day, it's this. AP automation is not just about speeding up payments. It is about freeing your finance team, freeing yourself, and protecting your organization. Getting your leadership a level of visibility and accuracy you simply cannot achieve with manual processes. You automate AP the right way, you unlock the kind of financial clarity that drives real decision making. The companies that get this right are the ones that stop treating AP like a task and start treating it like a strategic function. So here is my ask. If something in this episode hit home, take 10 minutes this week and map out your current AP workflow. Where are the bottlenecks? Where are the manual steps? Then share this episode with someone on your team who needs to join that conversation. And if your organization is ready to modernize your financial operations, reach out. My team at Campbell Technology Advisors works with companies every day who want to implement new systems and connect the best-in-class tools like MineralTree to build a scalable, automated financial engine. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Beyond the Numbers. Until next time, where we go beyond the spreadsheets, beyond the chaos, and beyond the numbers.